Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah!
We got it! We got it!
New 52 book.
Somebody clip this movie.
Welcome to Comics League Movie Night. I'm Jared. I'm here with Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, brother?
Can we please have Deadpool's mouth open and have him talking, please?
According to these people, no, you can't. So we're talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine. Sadly, this is Deadpool's first movie appearance. And I'm like, oh, gosh.
And if Tom Rothman had his way, it would have been his last.
Yeah, so a little background on this. So this movie led to this comic series called Wolverine Origin. Because, fun fact, so this movie was announced that they were going to do Wolverine's origin. Previous to this, Wolverine did not have an origin. They were like, oh, okay, you know what? We'll just keep it a mystery. Then they announced this, and Marvel Comics was like, we can't let the movie people give Wolverine an origin before we do. So it led to this, Wolverine Origin. What's up, CG anime fan? In my opinion, X-Men Origins is an underrated film. It's underrated, but it's not great. Let me put it to you that way. I think it's the most.
It's not the worst movie ever. That is for certain.
It's not. Randy, welcome to the show that can prove Super Wonder's a superior ship. Hell yes. So let's open up by saying that. See, and what's actually pretty interesting about this movie is that the movie is pretty much this for the first 5 minutes, and arguably some other scenes.
Yeah, they definitely speed run like the first 2 issues of the comic.
Because the first 2 issues of the comic is basically, it takes place in the 1800s. Logan's name is James Howlett. He's sick. He finds out this drunk guy shows up and starts causing disruptions. I'm just going to call him Logan. Logan's father is shot. Logan pops his claws for the first time, and this is where we get bone claws. And actually, it was in that comic that established bone claws. And Wolverine kills the drunk guy. Drunk guy turns out to be his father.
Okay, I need to
complicated.
Oh, dear God. That's a perfect setup. I have to reveal who wrote this movie.
Okay.
The person who wrote this movie is David Benioff, the person who would go on to create Game of Thrones, a TV show. So when you say Game of Thrones...
That was totally unplanned.
Yeah, wow. Like I had that fact in the back of my head. I was gonna say it at some point in the show, but you gave me like the perfect setup.
Perfect layup, brother. Perfect layup.
All right, but to kind of compare and contrast with the comic, so the comic kind of like leaves the father more into heavily implications, because like the farmhand looks pretty much like Wolverine. And apparently, the wife, you see her with like claw marks on her back, you know. But the other thing is, they don't have Sabretooth in the comic, but there's this character called Dog. And basically, Sabretooth takes Dog's place in the story. And plus, a lot of the stuff that was more subtext, they bring up into, well, I guess, full text. I don't know the actual term, but yeah.
The other thing that's kind of interesting is like this establishes that Wolverine apparently has a thing for gingers.
I mean, he does have good taste, so.
Yeah, exactly. So we get that scene. Then we get what this whole movie should have been. So Wolverine's immortal, and you see him going through every single war from the Civil War to Vietnam. And I'm like, couldn't we have gotten this for the movie? This seems like a better plot for a movie.
By the way, if this movie was literally made 10 years later, during the World War II scene, you would have had him, you would have had a Chris Evans cameo.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, because
in the comics,
Captain America.
well, because in the comics, Wolverine was a Howling Commando.
Yeah, that's interesting.
He worked with Captain America. Also, I really hope Logan shows up in the Captain America game.
That would be kind of cool. They didn't even have to call him Wolverine. Just say, "Oh, Howlett," or like Logan. What's
James.
up, dude?
Just have someone who looks vaguely like Wolverine. They call him James. The fans will fill in the rest.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's actually a great idea. I would love that. But again, it's like because they show all these epic scenes, like them at Normandy, them and Nam with their powers, kicking ass, and I'm like, this should have been the plot of the movie. And
I just gotta say, Logan really got around during World War II, especially when we get to the Wolverine. We found out, wow, he was everywhere.
He was here. Oh yeah, he was the. You know what's kind of funny? Wolverine is kind of the Marvel Forrest Gump.
Oh dear God! Oh, get away!
It's not. Don't tell me that's not true. I rest my case. So then what's kind of funny is so we have Logan, then we have Sabretooth in this movie. And Sabretooth is like Wolverine, but more aggressive and less moral. Like he's taking civilians captive for certain stuff. And he starts killing American soldiers. And then what's kind of interesting is that so Wolverine sticks up for him. They get like put in front of a firing squad. And obviously it doesn't happen. Wait, so I need something clear up. Wolverine and Sabretooth were never brothers? I think they were.
I don't think they were. No, they weren't in the comics. In this movie, they are.
Okay. Well, that's it. I was wondering about them.
So in the Fox universe, in the Fox universe, they are. I mean, this does kind of this does open up a very big plot hole for the first X-Men movie. Because, like, I understand why Wolverine wouldn't recognize Sabretooth. But, like, why wouldn't Sabretooth recognize Wolverine?
Yeah, that's kind of odd.
Yeah, because they never explain, like, how he doesn't know him, you know. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, unless Stryker shot him in the head, too. But anyway,
so... Which, by the way, as we see in Logan, that adamantium bullet should have done a lot more damage.
Yeah, exactly. It should have destroyed his entire. Well, he does have a healing factor, so there is that. But
look at what happened with the clone in Logan, who had
that's true.
I think it had an anti-skeleton, regenerative. It was like prime, and it basically blew his brains out.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, this was a PG-13 movie, and that's an R-rated movie. So there you go. Mm-hmm. That kind of explains it. So then, they're recruited for what's essentially like a secret government program under Colonel Stryker, and then we meet Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. And I gotta say, even back then, like this way, regardless of what happens to Deadpool later in this movie, this part is solid Deadpool.
Also, I really like I love how they have one of the hobbits as electricity guy, and they got Will.i.am in this movie.
Yeah, I know, and he's not he's playing a character named Wraith, I believe, or John Wraith or something like that. But
yeah, he actually doesn't do too bad of a job in this movie.
No, not really. Props. So they roll out, and it's established that all these characters have powers and stuff. So Stryker is going into this African country because he wants a meteorite. We later discover that's adamantium, otherwise known as the metal that will coat Wolverine's skeleton. Hey, what's up, Tavia?
Again, if this movie was made 10 years later, they would be going into Wakanda to get vibranium.
I'm not so sure because remember, in the comics, it's adamantium that coats his skeleton.
I'm just saying, crossover synergy.
Well, here's the thing. Regardless of if this was coming out at the same time as the MCU, you also still have Marvel does not have the rights to mutants.
Okay, yeah, that's more of a recent development. Fair enough.
Yeah. So, okay, so ignoring that. So
also, I just want to say in the comics, there is I think it's proto adamantium or something where like alloys of vibranium and adamantium, like Cap Shield in some comics are like vibranium and adamantium alloy.
And by the way, what's actually kind of funny is Ultron's hull is made of adamantium. So that's why he's so like strong. And so continuing on, then they reach the village, and what's actually interesting is that then they start the other soldiers start laying waste to the civilians. Then Logan's like, okay, I'm done with this, and he just walks away. And then he ends up dating this girl, Kayla, and what we find out later is that she is a mutant. By touching men, she can like manipulate their actions, which that's a little.
I'm sorry, every woman has that power.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, wait a second. She's like, can you?
Bull crap! Every woman has that power.
Yeah, exactly. OMG. I thought I was the only one who thought The Rock had to be a Wakanda connection, though. This was after I rewatched football with MCU in the brain. True, yeah.
Also, I just want to say one of my favorite lines from the sequence. Stryker's talking to Wolverine at the logging camp. He says,
"Oh yeah,
where's your sense of American pride? I'm Canadian."
Yeah, I love that. He's like, wait, no. He goes, "Your country needs you. I'm Canadian." So the way it's sold to Logan is that Sabretooth went rogue after Logan left the team, is now hunting the other Team X members. So he tells them, hey, you need to help me bring him in. Yeah, what's up?
What he conveniently forgets to mention is he's hunting the other team members at Stryker's orders.
Yeah, exactly. We'll discover that later. But so Sabretooth ends up killing Wolverine's girlfriend. Killing. Air quotes, killing. I have to put on the air quotes. And then what you get is Wolverine finds Sabretooth in a bar and they fight, but Sabretooth breaks Wolverine's bone claws because they're just bones. So it's not like, although here's the thing.
Bone saw is ready.
Here's the thing that's kind of weird. So he breaks the bones, but Wolverine screams in pain after he does. But I'm like, wait a second. On the exterior claws, there's no nerves. So why are you screaming in pain?
I mean, there's probably some nerves on there.
I mean, I guess, but I don't know. I'm not that type of scientist.
Well, you got to realize, like just because they're bones, there's still probably blood vessels. There's still like actual biological functions going on in the claws.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the fact they got broken off, like just imagine. I don't know. I could bull crap my way out of this if I wanted to.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. But so Stryker against Wolverine, and I like where Wolverine's in the hospital and the doctor's like checking for wounds, and then it's all clean, and then the doctor goes, "Is this a joke? The guy's fine." I that is so good. By the way, Tevin brings up a good point. As crappy as this movie is, the game tie-in was so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Because it basically stretches out the story. It's basically God of War, but with Wolverine.
So, to touch upon what I think it was said Tevi or someone else saying about like the Cyclops scene.
Mm-hmm.
So, when they were going to do the like 5 years prior, in between X1 and X2, there was a DVD box set called X-Men 1.5, and they had originally planned to shoot some extra origin scenes. With like Storm, Cyclops. One of Cyclops was, now tell me the scene's familiar. Cyclops, he's in the bathroom, his eyes hurt, and then his powers activate. Okay. They actually had built a set for it, but they never ended up shooting that scene. That set actually got used in X2 when Mystique put the iron in the guy's blood.
Oh, really? That's so
cool. And so this origin of Cyclops has been revisited twice. Once in this movie, and then they actually played it more verbatim in I think it's X-Men Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
So Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like a walking factoid when it comes to these X-Men movies.
Of course. So then, and then, by the way, we see Sabretooth, and he seems to be like knocking out, capturing all these mutants. We don't find out why right now. Then you find, so then we go to Alkali Lake, where it's in the dam. Wolverine gets the adamantium put in him.
Dude. Oh, also, okay. Here's another fun fact for you.
Okay, go ahead.
So, originally when they developed that set, they had painted it a lot more like dingy and dark, like it was kind of supposed to. But when Tom Rothman visited the set, he wanted it repainted. Gavin Hood refused. So some producers lured the director off of the set for like a half an hour. And then Tom Rothman ordered them to repaint it that garish bright blue.
Really? That's interesting.
See, yeah, so that is how over the director's head they went. That's why that scene looks kind of weird, because the whole paint is too bright and whatever.
And Tavia, they always bring in cameos of X-Men characters in this movie, even if they have very little role. Arguably, like, Cyclops plays a larger role in this than, like, say, Dazzler did in Dark Phoenix. So it's not like he shows up and just does nothing.
I'd say I don't mind the Dazzler, because like the way they placed it, it's like, okay, they're having a party and she's performing. Like, okay, sure, fine. At least it fits. Like, at least it makes sense in the context of the scene.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's because it's not like they put Cyclops in here and he does nothing to affect the plot. He kind of does. He gets captured. That's kind of his thing. But
I mean, at least like Gambit was a bit random, but at least they kind of integrated him somewhat well.
Yeah, and I can't wait to possibly see Gambit and Wolverine.
Also,
Deadpool Wolverine.
Looking back at it now, so it's funny that there's two actors in this film that would go on to star in Yellowstone.
Oh yeah,
Stryker and Gambit, because Gambit is played by the son.
Yeah, Taylor Kirch, I think his name is.
Yeah, and then the other guy is a villain in Yellowstone. I mean, he's just a great actor. He's in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, he would like the actor for Stryker would go on to be the villain in Wonder Woman. By the way.
Oh yeah, it's Ludendorff. So
remember, this is my ticket superpower at play.
Yes, exactly. So then let's see. Okay, so Wolverine gets the adamantium put in him. And by the way, they also explain where the Wolverine name came from. So what happens is, Wolverine's girlfriend Kayla was telling him the story about like the moon spirit named Keokuatso or something like that. And what's actually kind of funny is that Wolverine does the total Wolverine thing when he at the end of it he goes cuckoo kachu got screwed. So I'm like, yeah. And the name translates to Wolverine. So that's kind of where they explain the Wolverine thing. So when he gets the new dog tags, he goes, I want new ones. What do you want them to say? Wolverine. It's a bit
of a messy way of doing it, I'll say.
Okay, I can see that.
It seems a bit contrived. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
So at first he dies when the adamantium is put in him, because again, this process would kill anyone else. They established this, but because of his healing factor, he does recover, but not before we overhear Stryker say, erase his memories and to take a DNA sample for Weapon 11. And
trust me, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that and why that was the stupidest part of this movie, and an already stupid movie. So Wolverine breaks out and fights his way out, and he comes under the care of a nice elderly. He basically finds Jonathan and Martha Kent. So now Superman and Wolverine's mom have the same name.
Also, like, can we just take a moment when he first pops out the claws? Looks so bad.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny later. So he hangs out. So the family gives him his son. Their son's closes up. So he's in the bathroom and he pops his claws, and you can clearly see they are CGI claws, because actually, if you pay attention to like his fist, they actually clip through his knuckles a few times.
Well, there's a couple different problems. Part of this does lie with Hugh Jackman. See, you can really tell Hugh Jackman is used to the actual claws, like his acting with the actual claws.
Yeah.
Because the way he moves his hands, it's like there's no weight to the claws at all. Okay. The way he kind of moves it, like there's no weight to him. Versus, like, because most of the time when Wolverine has the claws out on camera, they're actual physical claws.
Yeah. My question is, why did they use the physical claws in this movie?
I don't know. Maybe they're like, oh, CGI is the future, blah, 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 something.
Well, that sure worked out for you. The other thing about the claws is that when they came out, they were way too shiny. I mean, I understand they look generally like clean, but it's just the way it's
the lighting.
Exactly. It kind of makes you wonder if this film were done by Zack Snyder, how much better it would be for a lot of different reasons.
It would be the claws would be a lot better, and they'd be done for a tenth of the budget.
Yes, and then there'd be way more slow motion. So then we get the original Wolverine's jacket, where it's just their random son's thing. It would have been hilarious if their son was actually Scott, and like Wolverine is getting Cyclops' hand-me-downs.
I mean, he does get his hand-me-down girlfriend, so it would be the first time.
Exactly. While Scott is hanging out with the infinitely better Emma Frost. Yeah, I said it. So then the family's killed because, and it was kind of funny. Agent Zero, that's the you do with the guns that kills the family, puts the blame on Wolverine, and I'm like,
Wolverine's to blame because he didn't save Martha. I'm sorry, you said you opened the door to that joke.
And then so Wolverine's on the motorcycle.
Save Martha!
Wolverine's on the motorcycle and he's attacking the helicopter, but the helicopter is so bad, like he cuts it and then it starts to crash. But behind it, it looks like they're screen recording, use their mouse, grab a PNG of a helicopter, and are just dragging it toward the ground. That's what it looks like. Like, is there no quality control of this movie?
I will say, like that one shot of him using his claws to kind of turn the bike around.
That was cool.
That was kind of cool.
That was the most Wolverine thing I have ever seen in this movie. And then I also like there's gas emptying everywhere. So Wolverine crashes the helicopter. Obviously, he gets on the radio with Stryker and says, "I'm coming for you next." Zero says, "It's funny how people keep dying around you." So Wolverine takes his claws, sparks the gasoline, just walks away in slow motion. But even here's the thing, the explosion behind him looks it's basically green screen, and you can clearly see it's green screen. So I'm like,
what did they make this? How much did they make this movie for? $5 and a cup of noodles.
It looks like it was done by Joss Whedon. Yeah, I said it. So then Wolverine goes and links up with his friend Wraith, who was the teleporting Will.I.Am. And I like how and by the way, this is interspersed with Sabretooth killing a hobbit. There you go. I have.
He wanted to take the hobbits to Isengard.
Yeah, guard.
What did he say?
Yeah, exactly. So then they link up, and I like how. So this is where we meet Blob, and what I like about this, Wolverine calls everyone Bub. So he goes up to him and he goes, "Come on, Bub, for old time's sake." And then he goes, "Did you just call me Blob?" And I really like that little misunderstanding joke. And I also like where Wolverine's they establish how Wolverine is heavier with the adamantium claws, and he hops on the where he hops on the bike and it's kind of low riding, or when he smacks Blob in the head with his fist, but it's now essentially a metal sledgehammer, so it knocks him out. And I like where Wolverine's on top of Blob, and the claws come through the boxing glove.
Yeah, the other thing is, a lot of media, they treat Blob kind of like a joke. This one actually is pretty respectful of Blob. Like, yeah, he's not one you want. He's not a person you want to mess around with.
No, exactly. And then this is where we find out about Remy LeBeau, Gamby, our boy Gamby, played by Taylor Kirch. And here's the thing. he's not terrible in the role.
No.
Compared to where it could have gone, I gotta say, I would have liked if he had a little bit more of a Cajun accent, which he kind of does in the movie. But I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. There is one bad scene with Gambit where he's jumping down a fire escape, but he's helicoptering his stick to like loosen his fall. And I'm like, so you basically went with the Star Wars Rebels idea of helicopter blades. Nice. So it was kind of yeah, you remember what I'm talking about, Nick. You remember what I'm talking about. I know, it's so stupid. So then what's actually kind of funny is that so Wolverine and Sabretooth fight, but this time Wolverine has the adamantium claws.
Ooh, shiny.
Here's the problem with this, though. It's established that now Wolverine is kicking Sabretooth's ass just because he has the adamantium claws. I mean, it's not like it was made it's not like it made him faster or anything like that. So I'm kind of a little bit like, okay, so why is he all of a sudden a better fighter?
Well, he's not necessarily he's better, he's more effective.
But still, why is he more effective?
Well, because he's more durable, because and also the claws, they do a better cut. It's not.
I like how Nick is trying to explain these plot holes.
It's like basically, let's say you have two martial artists of equal skill, and then you give one of them a gun.
Yeah, pretty much. So okay, you know what? I'll take that. So
because movie magic, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, thank you, Randy. By the way, and then Sabretooth kills Wraith, and I like the way he does, because he goes, "You're so predictable, John," and he just pops behind him. He puts his hand in the space where Wraith is going to be, so he grabs.
Oh, I think he froze on us. So, Wonder Bats in the chat, anybody?
Are you... Okay, now I'm back. I believe I'm back.
All right, welcome back.
All right, so sorry about that. My internet cycle. So he just grabs his spine and kills. Oh my gosh, Atchison, you a-hole! No.
Thank you, Atchison.
Why? So then
because I asked them to put Wonder Bats in the chat. So.
Of course it's you.
Atchison, thank you so much. You made Jared angry. You have done your job, sir.
From now on, I'm going to have people put dabs in your chat. Then that's my name for Nightwing and Barbara.
Dabs in the chat?
Dabs. Yeah, because I refuse to say any name that has the word dick in it. But anyway. But I like how, Remy gets up and he goes, because the reason why Wolverine goes to Remy is because Gambit had broken out of that mutant lab that they're holding Deadpool in. And so they need him in order to break in. So I like where Remy's behind Wolverine and he goes, if you think I'm going to let you break in, boosh, and he just punches him out. That's so good. I love this movie. I love this scene. Let me put that. I don't love this movie. I like the scene. So they fly there. They fly now. And so they show up, and so
Wolverine just slapped his claws really hard.
Yeah, exactly. So Wolverine shows up in the facility, and so what Stryker says is his genius plan was, what if we could implant mutant powers into one being? Like put like every mutant's powers in one.
No. You haven't grasped the true genius.
Oh, yeah,
go ahead. They wanted a pool of dead people. A Deadpool.
And okay, if it were just that, I would have been like, okay, that's not that bad. Maybe that's how they explain the powers and everything like that.
And then you actually see him.
So it's not just that. So then Wolverine and Sabretooth again have a fight. And this is where the movie really starts going downhill, in my opinion. So Wolverine, so Sabretooth is spared by Wolverine's girlfriend, who's, by the way, is alive because it turns out this was all Stryker's plan the entire time. But she like says, "Oh, don't worry, Wolverine, I still love you." So he just he's all good with her. And then it turns out, so the reason why she betrayed him is because Stryker was holding her sister, Emma Frost, captive. So then you save her, but the problem with Emma Frost is that they don't use her mind power. She just turns diamond. And I'm like,
I mean,
here's the
Jared,
other problem about this.
Don't you know, Jared? Diamonds are forever.
Here's the other problem with this. None of the, if this is in the Fox universe, none of the Fox X-Men, besides the First Class, mention Emma Frost. You think they would have? You would think Cyclops would have mentioned Emma Frost. He got saved with her.
I really want to go into the nitty gritty of like the timelines. These movies are a freaking mess.
Yeah, that's why it's a bad idea to bring in. Honestly, it should have just been a Wolverine movie. Don't bring in any characters that have been in the other movies. Then I mean, the timeline would have been cleaned up a little bit.
If you look at X-Men 3, Logan and Magneto were still partners as late as the 80s, and as we know from First Class, they pretty much, after the Cuban Missile Crisis, they went their separate ways. So like, I don't know.
Speaking of First Class, how great was it when Wolverine, when they go to Wolverine, he just goes, "Go F yourself."
I mean, that kind of became his catchphrase after a while. Which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed in Deadpool Wolverine, he says it.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, yes. I'm so excited for that movie, by the way. The Emma in Origins is Emma Silverfox instead of Emma Frost. Yeah, it's stupid. I'm not a big Deadpool fan, so I don't mind what the film did to him. Okay, so the idea is that you find Deadpool, and here's the problem. Here's where the problems start. First, they sewed his mouth shut. Then they make him mind controlled by a computer. Then they make it so the samurai swords that Deadpool normally has come out of his arm like Wolverine. Except the problem is Wolverine's are small, so they could conceivably fit in his forearm. Deadpool's is an entire katana blade. Like, if that's in his arm, he's not going to be able to bend his arm.
Also, he has Cyclops' I-beams, and then he has, like, the teleportation, which, yes, in the comics, Deadpool does have, like, a teleportation belt, a lot of times. So, like,
it's a belt.
fine.
It's not his powers, though, but he doesn't have Cyclops. And it's kind of funny. Basically, he's Baraka. That's true. Yeah. They kind of made him Baraka. The other thing is, like, when he uses the Cyclops beams, his mask goes black, like the Deadpool mask. So he fights Deadpool. And then it turns out he gets to team up with, Wolverine teams up with Sabretooth to fight Deadpool. And it's just so stupid. And they fight. And
I mean,
Deadpool.
The stupidest part is where Wolverine blocks Cyclops' blast with his claws.
No, you could do that. They've done that plenty of times before.
No. Oh, it's so stupid.
They've done that before, though. So that one, a fusion power in Ultimate Alliance 2 is a energy beam character blasts the claws with the beams and he blocks them. That's not the stupid part. The stupid part is that Sabretooth is not getting torn in half by the lasers blasting at him.
Lasers.
So it implied he was forced, or was he? I think he agreed. I think.
I don't know.
It's not that clear, but so they kill.
These timelines are so confusing.
Yes, this timeline is so they need a flashpoint. You could say.
No. What they need is for a character to have like a wristwatch for time travel and go back and shoot this version in the head.
Multiple times. I like how many times each Deadpool shoots him in Deadpool 2. We'll talk about that when we discuss.
Literally, this timeline gets retconned as of Deadpool 2,
which I like. I'm fine with that. So then so Stryker loads an adamantium bullets into a gun, and Stryker's assistant is like, "It's not going to kill him." He's like, "No, it won't, but it'll wipe his memories," and that's his plan. So what they do is Stryker. I'm trying to remember the timeline of events because this movie's so forgettable. All right. So in the gunfire of the escape attempt, Kayla is injured. So like she's bleeding out. So Wolverine is carrying her. Then he's shot by Stryker. and then he keeps being shy as he runs towards Stryker, and then before he can strike at him, Stryker actually shoots him in the head and wipes his memories. And this is how he can't remember anything about his life happened, which probably Randy says still a better movie than the Marvels. I haven't watched the Marvels, so I wouldn't know.
I fortunately have and can confirm.
How did Stryker?
F you.
But Tavia, he had the adamantium that he grafted onto Logan's skeleton. So there you go. That's explaining it.
That is like yes, it's implied, but like it is the least confusing thing about this movie.
Yeah, I know. It is the least one. All right, isn't there? I'll get to that deleted scene. So
I mean, there's a post-credit scene.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So then Kayla actually ends up like getting rid of Stryker, but by touching him and using her powers to say "walk until your feet bleed" and then keep walking. So he walks, and then so Gambit finds Wolverine. Obviously, Wolverine doesn't remember anything, and they go their separate ways. And,
you're also forgetting an entire
then wait,
subplot.
I'm getting there. The kids get out of the facility.
No. They're guided by like some mysterious voice in their heads.
Yeah. And then you find Sir Patrick Stewart standing there. So this is so obviously First Class is not canon to this universe. He's standing there. And the funny thing is that you can also tell they're running toward a CGI thing because there's no shadows if you look at the ground, by the way.
I mean, if you line this up with the continuity of X-Men 3, it does work because he was walking in the 80s and the movies take place somewhere similar around this time frame. So the continuity up to that point, it makes sense.
Yeah. But then as we see, and so here's a deleted scene what we had here. So after the movie, we see this hand just moving toward this head. And then Deadpool, all of a sudden his mouth is open. He just goes, shh. That's it. I'm like, how did his mouth open? Because I'm pretty sure it was like lasted close. And that's X-Men Origins Wolverine. So Nick, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on this movie and how would you rate it?
I would give it a 4 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not good. It is just not good. Like there's some kind of cool things about it, like some interesting things, but there's just so much wrong with it.
Yeah, and then the Deadpool thing really like. Well, you know, it's kind of funny. In the Black Widow movie, they essentially Deadpooled Taskmaster. Yes, they open. Okay, Cameron. I don't even know why. They do not explain it. His head's there. His mouth opens. So I'm like, what the heck?
Okay, so like the worst part about Black Widow is you had the perfect story justification for like female Taskmaster aside, if you made it so that like she knew that Natasha was responsible for blowing up the building, the fact that I'm not being controlled. I'm here by choice. I hate you that much, and I support my father's mission that much. He doesn't need to pheromone me. I'm here by choice. Like that would be a great character beat.
But Nick, here's the other thing that you're forgetting. So here's the reason why they gender bent Taskmaster. Because the writer couldn't figure out a way to get comics Taskmaster to work in the Black Widow thing. But here's the thing: if you
make it the guy's son.
Wait, no. It gets even stupider than that. Are you ready? You know what Taskmaster does in the Marvel Universe?
What?
He literally trains henchmen.
So why don't they make the head of the Red Room Taskmaster?
Or just make him a combat instructor that occasionally does Black Ops stuff. That's all you had to do.
I mean, it's more economical to make the head of the Red Room Taskmaster.
True, that too. You could do that. He becomes the head after you could still do the bombing, but it actually killed Dreykov, and he's Dreykov's son, and he wants vengeance. You could see, very simple. All you need is a surface level. You need surface level understanding. You don't even have to read that many comics to understand.
See, here's the thing. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I like Black Widow. I think I consider it a bit of a flawed gem. It's a good movie, but it does have some problems.
It's not perfect, but it's not bad by any means. Let me put it this way, of the more recent MCU movies, I enjoyed Black Widow the most. I wish it came out after Civil War, but that was beyond my control.
The sex trafficking angle. That was a very bold decision. Like that was very bold.
Yeah, 100%. Is Iron Man really coming back in the MCU? Probably not.
Like the fact that they kind of touch upon like the whole conspiracy of like world leaders and like the person who may or may not have Unalai
I also like
I'm skirting around phrases.
I like how like Red Guardian asked Natasha, "Does Captain America even ever mention me?" And then he's telling all these stories in prison. By the way, he was actually arm wrestling a mutant. Ursa Major's a mutant. He turns into a bear, which is hilarious. Did you know there was a Russian superhero movie called Guardians where there's a guy that turns into a bear, but when he's in full bear form, he has a machine gun that he has like a machine gun turret mounted to his back.
Please, does the bear take certain substances?
No, it's not. It's not.
Does the bear drink Coca-Cola?
I know what you're referencing, and he even has a form where he's a bear man, like he's a man with the head of a bear, and he fires the minigun.
But is there a man bear pig?
No, I wish. But we may talk about that for a movie night one day. I think that'd be really funny. I'd rather watch Wolverine. I'm a big X-Men fan, so my opinion's biased. Well, yeah, and that's fine. Again, if you enjoy this movie, I enjoy some parts of it. Like, again, the war scene in the beginning of the movie was dope. That should have been the movie.
We both can agree the Wolverine is an infinitely better movie. The only problem with the Wolverine is it's an amazing movie up until the last act. Like, that final sequence is not the best.
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about that because I guarantee you we're going to be talking about this. Yes, he does. I think in the comics he wears a belt. He doesn't. It's not like his mutant ability.
No, his Deadpool's only real mutant ability is his healing factor.
Yeah, missed opportunity for this movie not to show Wolverine rescuing Magneto from the camps. That would have been cool, dude. They actually could have, if this movie were rated R, I think they would have done that. That would have been actually really cool to see.
Well, that would require them to have more time spent in World War II, and it's obvious they didn't want to spend any time in like the past, because there's lots of stories you could make. Like imagine I'm trying to think, like Wolverine World War One.
Yeah, what they could do, this could have been a dope series on Disney Plus. Each episode is Wolverine in a different era's war. Now, I will say, Atchison brings up this good point. The video game is really, really good. Because it does... Yeah, go ahead.
Jared, all right, I want to do some fan fiction here.
Okay.
So Wolverine sees children in the trenches of World War One, and then he hears some commotion. All of a sudden, he hears, "This woman, she's running through no man's land. What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, hell." And so he goes and he's running, and he joins everyone else in clearing out this French village. And he sees this wonderful woman just hopping between buildings.
And he goes, "I am both frightened and aroused."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is great. I love that. That would be hilarious. And then watch it, and then he goes, "This would make a great movie one day."
Wonder Wolverine.
Because there's the thing, Wonder Wolverine is worse than Wonder Bat because that does not. There's no way Wonder Woman would be with Wolverine.
No, actually, I would disagree because Logan is a warrior and he's old, like he's
just
like
because he's a warrior and old does not. His character does not work with Diana.
I don't know. I think they might. So basically, I just invented a new ship to tease Jared with.
Okay, that's never happening again. I would like to apologize for anyone that was subjected to that.
Wonder Wolverine.
The reason the game turned out so good is because the movie got delayed and the devs got like 3 to 4 more months to work on it. That's actually a good idea. Did this movie?
By the way, the ship is now called Wonder Claw.
No, Wonder Woman and Steve Rogers makes more sense because that's basically Super Wonder.
Wonder Claw.
X-Men Origins Wolverine. I'm trying to pull up its box office because Tevia asked if it bombed or if it made money. Okay, so let me X-Men Origins Wolverine budget. X-Men Origins Wolverine budget. So, of a budget of $150 million, it made $373.1 million. So it did profit. It made, let me put it this way, it was considered a monetary success according to Hollywood standards because you always double the budget for marketing. And yeah, this movie made money, so it didn't bomb, Tevia.
I mean, it didn't make much money.
No, let me put it this way. It didn't like do gangbusters, but it didn't bomb. Let me put it that way. This movie's Deadpool is the badass, though. I wonder who could have beaten him in the MCU. Anyone could beat this thing. But anyway, I forgot to participate. No, in World War II and now World War I. I always get it's World War I. So still,
I mean, he would have been around. So
yeah, but he would have been on a different theater, I believe. I don't think he was at the trench. Well, he wasn't at the trenches actually.
He could be anywhere the writers want him to be.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, financially yes, but was Tevia, you asked me if it bombed financially. You asked if it bombed financially. But anyway, so yeah, so the game of this is actually better because it extends the origin part of it, and you also get to fight characters like Boulevard Trask and a Sentinel, and you get to wear like the X-Force suit. You get to wear like the blue and yellow. You get to wear the Chris Claremont suit. And what's actually really cool about the game, so when you're shot, he actually takes the damage on his skin, and you can see him heal. So the game is really, 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 really dope. So
check Twitter.
Yeah, I give it in terms of rating, I give it a solid 4 because yeah, it's not good, it's not bad, but it's a below average movie. Gets rated M, but also the game gets rated M. It's also a plus. Yeah, John Wraith is Kurt's father. No, he's not. I know it would have made more sense, but still, Azazel's the father. Well, according to Marvel now, Kurt has no father.
I actually don't mind like Azazel and Mystique being the like, because it's very clear Azazel is meant to be Nightcrawler's father. He's basically, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's very clear. Like they look similar. They have a similar power set. It is very clear Azazel and Nightcrawler related. I'm sorry.
And by the way, I'm going to say this. It's my one time to address this. Yeah. Wolverine and Wonder Woman doesn't work because Wolverine's fine with straight up murdering people. Wonder Woman isn't. Now, if you're talking about Injustice Wonder Woman, then I could see that. Hey, what's up, Bell Rev? How you doing? Good to see you.
It doesn't matter the logic. All that matters is if it annoys you or not.
So you're a shipper, so you're one of those shippers that doesn't rely on logic, is what you're telling me.
No, I do whatever annoys you most, aka Wonderclaw.
He is wearing the mask. I can confirm. I think that what's going to happen is he's going to wear the mask at the end of the movie. He is definitely going to do that. Didn't Diana kill Max? But that wasn't murder. Wolverine. He tried other options. Wolverine goes to the murder option.
So, also, here's the other thing. Now that we've gotten some more information about Wolverine, I really do feel like the Madripoor scene is going to be a fake out. I really do feel like that's going to be, if that is Henry Cavill as that version of Wolverine, like I don't know.
Yes.
Knowing what we know of the story, I'm pretty certain like the patch version is a fake out. Like that's not actually gonna he's gonna Deadpool's gonna turn around. It's like, wait, you're not Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, he goes, I'm so Les Miserables with this. I guarantee you he makes a Les Mis reference.
No, he says, oh, so DC's finally done with you? Oh, so DC's finally done with you, so you're invading another universe now?
So you're gonna take over another universe now. Well, that ain't that super. Shouldn't you be with Wonder Woman and not an annoying as hell journalist? Is the new MCU Hunter movie? Is this going to be any cameo? Oh, you mean Craven? Probably not, because that's too smart.
Craven is not at MCU. It's
not.
It's part of the Sony verse, and that thing got delayed, so I don't know what's going to happen with that one. I mean, it might get Zaslav in its own way. Hopefully. I hope so.
Comics League, good question. Speaking of Wolverine, that reminds me, I was just wondering, with X-Men Days of Future Past and Logan retcon this movie, how does it retcon it, though? How does Logan retcon Origins Wolverine?
To be fair, I'm pretty sure this movie has been out of continuity since at least Days of Future Past.
True. The other thing to think about is that Days of Future Past is not necessarily retcon, because when he pops out, I mean, when Wolverine arrives in the timeline, he has the bone claws. So this could just take place during the time before he met Kayla, when he was like just after he.
Well, here's the thing. Origins Wolverine very clearly takes place during the 80s. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Days of Future Past takes place during the 70s. Also, in Apocalypse, there is a Wolverine scene where he just got his claws. You know, where he's running out and whatnot, and then and that's during the 80s. So Apocalypse actually does roughly line up with Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and like Origins, and like Apocalypse, he's wearing the headgear and all that stuff. But besides that, it kind of lines up. So, I mean, it's not that bad, but the timeline is still messed up. So,
also, I just need to say this: it's really stupid that Jean Grey is the one to give him the Logan name.
That is dumb. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
That is the stupidest thing in the world. But anyway,
also, if we're going off of timeline stuff, Jean Grey met Wolverine when she was, in her 20s or something. How did she not recognize him during the movie? Yeah,
I know. I'm like, wait, I don't think they thought this one through. Well, then again,
to be fair, there's a lot of problems.
The First Class universe I take as a separate continuity from the other Fox movies. Jared Nick, don't you think that in the Future Past movie they should have explained Professor Xavier's twins situation a little more in detail?
The X3 post-credit scene is where they had that. Where they had and then sorry.
They did in the beginning of the movie kind of tease it when they're looking at that dude that's like a blank slate who will never wake up, and it says, is it moral to insert another person's personality into that individual? So they did kind of explain it.
Yeah, also it's gonna be really interesting with Cassandra Nova, the implications she's gonna have on the lore, because as far as I know, Cassandra was killed in the womb, and then her consciousness basically reconstructed itself or something.
Yeah, so that works basically. Yeah, me too. No way it's in the same continuity. Yeah, exactly. There's no way. It just doesn't work. There's too many plot holes here. Why does Charles Xavier never mention, we actually tried to recruit this guy back in the day, and he said no?
First
Class is awesome, but still, I'm like, too many things happen in the past, and I'm like, this doesn't line up.
Yeah.
But
see, the thing with the X-Men movies is you got to basically make your own canon. You've basically got to discard movies. So basically the movies that are in my X-Men canon starts with Days of Future Past, and then you have starts with First Class, then Days of Future Past. Apocalypse never happens. Dark Phoenix never happens.
I love Apocalypse.
And then you get X-Men 1, X2.
But wait, if you get rid of Apocalypse, where does Storm come from?
I don't care.
I like that pause by Bella. Yeah, I liked Dark Phoenix to a point. Let me put it to that way.
It was aggressively average, very, very meh. I'm sorry, but Sophie Turner is a great actress, but she does not. She plays Jean Grey so flat. And the other problem I have with the newer X-Men movies is they're so obsessed with Mystique.
Like, yes, I get it. You have Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, but I don't know. I actually prefer Rebecca Romijn as Mystique. Rebecca Romijn took a less is more approach to Mystique, and I think she had a bigger impact.
Yeah. Randy says, to be fair, none of the studios to think things through. That is true. Brown says, so then which X-Men movie is connected to the Deadpool?
All of them. All of them.
Yeah, because
I
the
mean,
multiverse movie, all of them can be.
McAvoy or Stewart? Oh, these
Mhm.
timelines are so confusing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and of course, Logan is definitely like the last movie I think in the canon. That I think is where you end the X-Men universe.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, if we're gonna nail down Logan to a timeline, he's in the First Class timeline because remember the Apocalypse people make a cameo.
They do.
In Deadpool 2. Yeah, and you know that scene in Deadpool 2 where he's in the X Mansion. It's like, where's the other X-Men? You see all of them like close the door.
No, I mean, what does that have to do with Logan?
It has to do with Deadpool.
No, but I'm talking about Logan being canon.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Logan's canon. He's 100%. That's 100% canon.
Okay. Yeah. In terms of Deadpool, it's kind of funny when they go to like fight Apocalypse, Deadpool happens to show up right as they leave. So it's like while they're fighting Apocalypse, Deadpool is just hanging out with like Colossus.
So Jared, this is a bit of a tangent, but since we're kind of talking about the Fox X-Men films, I need to ask you, what do you think of New Mutants?
Okay, so if it was released as marketed, I think it would have been a lot better. I didn't.
Yeah, the
hate
horror
the
film,
movie, though.
the R-rated horror film.
Though. Yeah,
I enjoyed it. It was an okay movie. I enjoyed it for what it was. I think the actors did a great job. But if they would have had it,
Joy as Magic is perfect.
It's great casting. But like if they would have done like the R-rated horror film that they clearly wanted to do, because you got to realize this movie went through like 3 or 4 different rounds of reshoots.
A lot of people did, and didn't it release in theaters during COVID?
I'm not entirely sure. Basically, it was like the first. It was released at like because you got to remember, Dark Phoenix is a Disney movie. Dark Phoenix was actually released.
Yes, they released during COVID, August 28th of 2020. I thought that was weird.
I mean, to be fair, like late summer of 2020, we kind of had like we had like the restrictions were kind of starting to lift a little bit, so people had like a little bit of reprieve to go out, but then they like locked it down come winter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, weird times, man.
Yeah, an R-rated X-Men movie will be fun. Well, we do have an R-rated X-Men movie. It's called Logan. But I will say the best thing that Logan produced was that meme of you may be cool, but you'll never be Wolverine reading X-Men comics cool. That is just so true. So true. By the way, so fun fact, Deadpool 2 was not the first time that they made fun of Origins. If you notice, in Deadpool 1, where Deadpool Wade goes, "This is my prize collectible." He's holding up an Origins Deadpool action figure, and then he just throws it away because it's like it's not that. But essentially, yeah. So now let's transition because we have another topic that we're going to talk about right now. Because
transition
X-Men 97. Another X-Men 90s. Actually, we have 2 X-Men 97 episodes to discuss, so let's get to that. So the 2 episodes that have come out since we last covered this have been fantastic. Like, Nick, what do you think of the Storm episode first?
I think that was done really well. Like, you know, her like again. I forgot just how good of a voice actress Storm's voice actress was. Yeah. Like I love how she plays the character with such confidence, grandiose, regal. Like my queen, I am
lightning.
She takes the most ridiculous lines and it makes it sound so badass.
Speaking of badass, how about when she shoots into the sky and you could see the hurricane from space?
Also,
and then she turns into the Claremont suit.
Also, we need to make a note that do you remember what they said they were inspired by for that scene?
That Man of Steel. Yeah. So this led to a funny internet thing that I saw. So someone asked Mayo if the scene of Storm flying again was inspired by Superman's first flight in Man of Steel, and he said, "Yeah." He's like, "Of course." So so an anti-Snyder person is actually arguing with Mayo on whether or not it was inspired by Man of Steel.
It's like, dude, I created this.
Yeah, it's my. I literally wrote this. Right. Oh, by the way, so is you know that Mayo said that like the first thing he ever wrote was a sequel to the X-Men movie to X1, and a lot he turned a lot of the plot points from that into this. That's kind of what that is. But when it says, when I was a kid, I had no idea Storm was African. I thought she was just a tan lady with white hair. Fair enough. But I also like where, I think it's kind of funny because I was watching a lot of YouTube reactions to this, and they said where apparently lightning brings her clothes and her like hair back. So I'm like,
I mean, who cares? Come on.
It's comic book stuff. But I do like that idea about how it wasn't just the like power inhibitor that was keeping her from using her powers. It was her own self-doubts. But as soon as she eliminates it, she's like powerful goddess Storm again. And I'm like, yes.
A mega level threat detected.
Yeah, exactly. And it may have inspired some stuff for a project I'm working on with Britt. So then we get to then we get to the episode Bright Eyes, because a lot of this is because at this point they're reacting to what happened in Genosha, and Rogue has this fantastic moment where Magneto and Gambit are dead. I don't like that she beat Wonder. Here's why that happened, Belle. Because at the time, this was during the X-Men's peak popularity, combined with the fact that original crossover was a fan-voted poll. It wasn't like the writers had any say in that. Because I do agree with you, Belle. There's no way Storm beats Wonder Woman. Like, I mean, like this way, it's a close fight, but I would argue most of the time, Diana comes out on top. Because yes, Storm has all these like weather-related powers, but Diana has like speed, strength, and all that stuff, and durability. But that pissed me off as well, and I can't wait to get that omnibus so I can be more pissed. But anyway,
the thing is,
go ahead.
People tend to think like Wonder Woman is Superman scale power when she's really not. Like, she can go toe to toe with Superman, but she is not on his level in terms of strength and durability. Okay,
Depends on the Superman though.
Like, I do think, like, if you had like Brie Larson's Captain Marvel versus Wonder Woman, I think Brie Larson has a chance at winning. The silence.
No, I disagree. Diana has the war. She trained under the god of war himself.
Well, Rogue definitely has a chance because he's a skilled brawler.
All you have to do is touch Wonder Woman. Yeah, Rogue is the one where I'll give you that one.
But let's take that out of the equation. Let's just say it's a straight out slugfest. Rogue is definitely strong enough, and I think she has enough brawling experience. The problem with
Rogue, well, here's the thing about Diana is that she has other powers in addition, because Rogue, as far as I know, doesn't have super speed. Diana does. So all you have to do is overwhelm with speed and strength.
It also depends on, like, some continuities. Wonder Woman can fly, some she can't. And if Wonder Woman can't fly, that's a big advantage for Rogue.
That's a disadvantage. I do agree with you on that one. But yeah, I'm just like, all right. But in this one, so Rogue shows up and just blaze ways to, like, because she's trying to find Gyrick and Trask, and then she shows up at this government facility. And good old Stars and Stripes shows up, Captain America.
Talk about character assassination on both fronts. Like, dear God, they did not write like Cap would not have acted like that.
But isn't that the Cap from this continuity though? That was more of like America's Cop or something like that.
I don't know, but like.
Because I've heard people have that complaint, but then again, that was the way Cap was written in the original cartoon as well.
So Tevye, the thing you got to realize is
Mhm.
Marvel kind of had their own DCAU back in the 90s. So, and the Hulk is in continuity for that. So yeah, the Hulk exists. Spider-Man exists. Basically, all of the cartoons of the 90s, like Fantastic Four, Iron Man, they all exist in this universe. So we could see like Iron Man pop up or whatever.
Yeah, we actually could. And that would be really fun. The rumor is we're also gonna get Spider-Man.
And
Iron Man. So then Rogue rendezvous with the X-Men and they're hunting for Trask. They find him. Rogue is holding him over like a building and drops
Now, Deadpool, remember, there are 3 or 4 moments that define you.
Yes, exactly. I love that. So she just drops him. And I love how many people were like, this is Zack Snyder's Rogue. And I'm like, you're goddamn right.
I'm sorry, but I don't think Rogue would like. Rogue is not that kind of person to kill like that. Even like I don't know. Just Rogue doesn't strike me as that kind of person.
Again, this is a Rogue that has lost everything, though.
Yeah,
you're treating it like it's mentally stable Rogue.
Yeah, but here's the thing: just because you're mentally stable doesn't mean you lose your morality. You know, if Superman was grieving, would we say the same thing? If Batman was grieving, if all these other characters.
Well, we had an example of Batman grieving. It's called BVS.
Okay, bad example, but Superman, Superman does not kill. Okay, he had no choice to kill Zod, and he hated himself for it.
Yeah,
but Superman, I think, we can debate the Batman stuff, but Superman is a no-kill character. Even Superman.
Now, I argue no superhero has a no-kill rule. They have a no-murder rule, but they will kill if they have to. Superman has killed Zod many times in the comics. So
that's the thing. Rogue murdered that guy, and I just don't think Rogue is that kind of person to murder like that, even if he's quote-unquote grieving.
Okay, fair enough. But he doesn't die because he turns into because the subplot here is that the humans are making Sentinels that are basically like humans, but are like ridiculously powered. And
so they're making Reavers.
Just essentially, yes. So they fight. And what's actually really cool is that Morph turns into Quicksilver, and we get an actually really cool like flash fight. I think they did that so well with the animation. And so the fight happens, and then Cable emerges, and I forgot that like Cable never told Cyclops, "Oh yeah, you're my dad." And I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, wait a second, he's your son? And I was like, oh, they never did that. Oh, okay, here we go. And then go
question,
ahead.
Is Madeline Pryor dead now?
I don't know. By the way, I called it. They had Emma Frost in her diamond form because this is when it happened. It was stress related where she turned into a diamond and was invincible. They're teasing the whole secondary mutation idea.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I'd be like, oh, he's going to be such a smug son of a bee.
Ha ha. She lived. She lived. Now all you got to do is get rid of Jean Grey and you're good to go. Oh, don't worry. She'll die again. I guarantee it. And then it's revealed that Magneto's not dead. He was just captured. And he's captured by Bastion. And for like a criminal, for like a nefarious purpose. I don't know exactly what their purpose for kidnapping Magneto is yet. They did establish that Gambit is 100% dead, and they kind of hammer it in with the fact that now Nightcrawler takes over like Gambit's spot in the intro, which is kind of funny because he's not. Nightcrawler is well, actually, he is in this. I was about to say he's not in this episode, but he actually is. But anyway, I could see Magneto being tortured to being used as a weapon. That's true. The only reason why I don't like Emma is that she turned Scott against Xavier, but they can do it better in the comics, because remember that was during when Marvel was like butchering Cyclops as a character, so they could do it better in other words. But all in all, so let me ask you this, Nick, how do you rate the Storm episode out of 10?
Oh, probably 10 out of 10.
Yeah, me too. I give it a 10 out of 10. I think it was a vast improvement from number 5. Now, how about the Rogue episode?
Probably an 8 out of 10 because like there is a lot of people acting out of character, and I do not like it.
Okay. I give it a 9 out of 10 because at least they had reasons for acting out of character. You may not like the reasons, but I'm like, okay, I get it. But all in all, I'm enjoying the series. We have 3 more episodes, and apparently Bodemayo has like teased the storylines that we're supposed to understand. The storyline from the show that we're supposed to like. That might be good to check out, and I'm pulling that up.
Also, sorry.
Yeah.
So it's rumored that for the final episode, Spider-Man is going to appear, and he's going to be voiced by the original actor from Spider-Man the Animated Series.
Yay! So there you go.
Power of Web, get real sticky.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh, you skipped the Professor. Oh yeah. What did you think of the Professor X storyline where he's basically in Battlestar Galactica?
I mean, they had my girl Deathbird there, so I was happy.
I also like. How did you notice that a few times the Superman a member of the Royal Guard looked like Henry Cavill a few times? I forget his name. Oh yeah, Gladiator. Gladiator looked like Superman in a certain way. So I'm like, well, he is one of the Superman allegories for Marvel. So there you go.
The fact that Marvel has multiple is just pathetic.
Well, it's like because they've always, and we all know the truth.
Look what they need to do to even match a fraction of our power.
Yeah, and you all know that they have the potential for the greatest superhero team of all time, the Squadron Supreme. So, directed by Zack Snyder. There you go. Where's my Squadron Supreme animated series? I want to get that. And watch Squadron Supreme Unlimited, not directed by Bruce Timm.
Why do I feel like when you're talking to Marvel, be like, okay, we can have Pantheon versus X-Men, Pantheon versus Avengers. What do you want to do, Jared? You're like, I want to do Pantheon versus Squadron Supreme.
Yeah, and if I were in charge of if I were in charge of the MCU, immediately I would say we're doing a Pantheon. We're doing a Supreme movie. Hey Zach, you want to come and direct basically the Justice League? And you want to do your storyline? I'm totally fine with it. You can do it all. Zack Snyder, Squadron Supreme. There you go. I love the Squadron Supreme. Thank you, Atchison. Good to know someone has taste. But so
we really do need to review a Squadron Supreme comic.
Yes, we do. So I can get it out of my system.
All right,
I'll pick a few and we'll do it. But as for season 1, I've been enjoying it very much. Now, Nick, would you say that was the animation still rough?
Yes, yes, very, very much in times, especially in the Rogue Captain America scene. The animation was very wonky.
Mm-hmm. At least the action scenes look good, so it's not like the entire. It's not like I get the feeling that they wanted to save the animation budget for the action scenes. They were just focus on the action scenes, and we'll do that. Are you guys gonna do Heroes Reborn 2.0? Probably. So Nick, Heroes Reborn was a series where they redid the Marvel universe and turned it into the DC universe. Gwen Stacy was that universe's Batgirl. And instead of the death of Gwen Stacy, it was the death of Falcon. So they basically pulled a Jason Todd, except Falcon was Jason Todd. It's really cool. Luke Cage was Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, you know what's another thing we need to do? We need to do Stan Lee Presents.
Yeah, that would be fun. I'm so down for that. That'd be really fun. Marvel make a Squadron Supreme movie with the same cast as the Snyderverse would be the funniest thing ever. Directed by Zack Snyder. Yeah, I know that would be the biggest FU to Warner Brothers. And what I would do if I were to announce that, I would go, "We're gonna complete Warner Brothers' homework assignment." Yeah, the animation is amazing and 10 times. Well, Tim makes a good point. It's better than the Tomorrowverse, I would say.
To be fair, that's a pretty low bar.
That's a pretty low bar. But Nick, would you at least say it's better than the Tomorrowverse?
Sure.
All right. So all in all, I think it's a good place to leave it. So Nick, where can we find you, and what have you got coming on your channel?
All right. In less than an hour, Jared and other people will be gathering, and we'll be returning to the Mojave Wasteland, and I'll be playing some Fallout New Vegas. And then I got rewatch on Monday. Then I got my extra credit plays Taco Tuesday. I guess that's what I'm calling it now. We're playing some Doom 64. I got some good episodes comics watch. And don't forget, Turn Sailor number 4 is coming out here in a few weeks. We'll be having a live stream for that. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Hell yeah. As for Comics League, Britt and I are going to be talking about Wonder Woman League of JLA League of One. I'm going to be doing a commentary on why DC Rebirth sucked. And next week, we're going to be, for Under Two Capes, we're going to be doing an MCU movie tier list. So there you go. Be on the lookout for all. As far as next week's movie night, we're going to be talking about Batman Year One, because we're getting back to making good, to watching good movies. So in the meantime, stay heroic, everyone, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.